the time, cause I wanna freeze this moment, make it mine, hold you close, now my heart's wide open, when I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain, do you make it go away, do you make it close, now my heart's wide open, when I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain, do you make it go away, do you make it
opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to the final round of the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series. Great to have you all here with me tonight, and it is an absolute pleasure to be at Circuit des Spa Francorchamps. This incredibly and legendary place is a beautiful, beautiful circuit. A big challenge for the drivers, and it's certainly going to be an exciting night of racing. Of course, with this being the final round, the championship is very, very important. We'll show you just how that looks right now. Mark Fletcher, the top of that pile, with Senna Lanson's only 1 point behind him. It is going to be incredibly, incredibly close. Eystein Herfjord is pretty much third. However, you could argue that if you were Tom Dadswell, I suppose. 3 points back from him, 8 points between him and Lewis Ward in fifth. Hakon Grebstad, Renzo Eulenbroek and Tom Edmonds all separated by just 3 points. 10 points separate them and Billy Fletcher. And of course, Hans Polmans is there rounding out your top 10. We're going to have a look at some cars out on track, as we probably should do, to be honest with you. And you'll see that some of the Altitude Esports guys, or if not all of them, have changed to this sort of blue edition of their livery for this evening. Certainly is a striking looking car. And we look here at Tom Dadswell, currently in 4th position in qualifying on a 2:19.50. It's Tom Edmonds, though, just coming up behind these guys, that is fastest at the moment. Senna Lanson second, Mark Fletcher in third. It's all nice and close between these guys, and I'm looking forward to a lot of good racing. Everybody with a bit of pressure on them. Senna Lanson's 1 point behind. I spoke to Mark and his team earlier, actually, and they said that they're all expecting it to go down to the final race. He doesn't think that he'll get it done beforehand. This is the gorgeous GTE Racing by Red Ant car of Senna Lanson's. It's a great looking bit of kit, isn't it? Really, really beautiful looking car. Great to see so many of you in the chat already. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We are streaming tonight across YouTube, Facebook and Twitch as well. Chaz Draycott or Chaz Draycott Media on all of those. I think it's Chaz Draycott Media on Facebook and YouTube and Chaz Draycott on Twitch. We have the Year 1 cars back out there on track tonight. Tyler Manning in the number 14 machine. Careful not to stall it, Sunshine. He's got Dan Berg, the Dutch driver, joining him. Tyler's been in for a few interviews over the course of the season, and he's a really, really good lad to speak to. He's very enthusiastic. This is Lewis Ward, another very enthusiastic and fast driver. He will not be wearing the number 1 for much longer, unfortunately. He is the reigning champion and outgoing champion in the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series. But Lewis hasn't been able to do every round from memory. But he's wearing this beautiful Apex Racing Academy skin on the car, with the white and green and almost black, with his, of course, individual red highlights. Apex's Kevin Ellis Jr. coming incredibly close to winning the Tag Heuer Esports Porsche Super Cup, Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup Championship, eventually finishing third after a bit of a dramatic ending at Monza, where Diogo Pinto was crowned as champion. Frederik van Eekhoven is back out on track tonight. Car number 7 in P number 5 at the moment. The Racing Forces machine certainly looking good. Thank you, CPR Racing, for the subscription on Twitch, or at least the follow on Twitch. And Subpar Golf subscribing to the YouTube channel as well. Thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated. Eystein Herfjord back out there again tonight as well in the T3 Virtual Motorsport by Maniti entry. Gorgeous looking green machine. Let's ride on board with him as we go down the hill towards the legendary Eau Rouge Radion section. We all know that this is going to change a lot, or has changed a lot already, and looks very different to this now. I'm intrigued to see how long it takes iRacing to get a new scan of it out there, as we are now halfway through qualifying. Over 10 minutes completed, now over 11 minutes. Look at the speed of these cars, over 250 kilometers an hour by the time you get into Les Combes on the brakes. Shifts it right, shifts it left, careful getting on the power before you turn right through Malmedy. Short shifts into 4th. Uses the traction on the exit. We look at Hans Polmans though, he's about to come into the final chicane. And he has gone better in 3 of his 5 sectors so far on this lap. The beautiful Flemish Sim Sports car makes its way out the final corner and across the line. Surely he improves. And he does. 2 minutes 20.1 goes up to 5th position. And he has got quite the gap ahead of him to Tom Dadswell, but he's best of the rest. That is safe to say. Frederik van Eekhoven is going to be one of the next drivers to cross the line. Currently now 6th after being knocked down 1 spot. And actually, he practices coming into the pits. Either that or he's coming in to get fresh rubber. Now, Flemish Sim Sports always have very pretty cars, but what they've actually had this... Well, I think actually today in the last few hours they've showcased their Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo, the new version of the AMG GT3 which has come to iRacing in addition to the AMG GT4. Great to see 2 very new cars from Mercedes making it onto the service. And we look here at Håkon Grebstad. Now he's improved on his own times in 3 of the sectors so far, one of them being a purple sector, meaning he's the fastest out of everybody. And let's see what that counts for as he crosses the line. The Ignium Motorsport car does another purple sector at the end of the lap. Surely it's pole? No, it's 5th place. Wow. And now suddenly becomes 6th as Eystein Herfjord outdoes him. But look at that, 2 purple sectors. Not counting for all that much. He must have had an issue in that first sector to not improve. Jakub Szymanski here in the number 95 machine. Now he told me that the car represents his sort of history and his experience with Spa. And it looks like a complete meme. So I imagine that's probably what it is. Can't quite see what it says on the car, to be honest with you. We'll see if we can pause it here, but the motion blur might do our heads in. Oh, it's got... it's a car like covered in slowdown penalties by the look of it. It looked like something like a raccoon on the side of it as well. But I imagine it's not. It's probably me being a complete idiot and I just can't quite see what it is. Is that some sort of... Oh, it's like a traumatized dog. And then there's the crying cat on it, the Pikachu as well. And there's Pepe all over it as well. You can see bits of Pepe. Oh, it's a meme in itself. Mark Fletcher is 3rd fastest at the moment then. Behind Senna Lansons, only 5 thousandths of a second between the 2 of them in the championship fight. I've told Mark that if he does win it, then I'm going to see him this weekend actually and spray champagne all over him. Because Mark will be working for one of the teams in the Locks for Vans Sports 2000 Prototypes Championship, which will be racing at Snetterton. I will be on the commentary duty for that. Can't wait to see everybody again. And get back into the flow with those guys after a couple of weeks away with Clio Cup and the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm sure a lot of you will have seen the humongous accident that we had in race 2 over the weekend. But don't let that deter you. The racing from the Hungaro ring with the trucks was absolutely phenomenal. It was great to see everybody again and be a part of the paddock. Now here's Callum Reid-Garton. He does not have the updated livery on the car. I think he might have come in last minute, but he crosses the line to do his first flying lap. And it does not count. Must have had an off-track somewhere along the line. And Jakob is saying he can't get a valid lap in. Bart Daleman, I don't think, is racing. Either that or he's just waiting for the session to be over and he's not qualifying because he's not done a lap yet. But we have 18 cars in the session. Callum, Jakob and Bart are the 3 that have not put times in at this current moment. Tom Edmonds is hiding behind the wall there. He's going to make his way back out on track. The current pole sitter hoping to improve. This is Hendrik de Grave in the number 87. 11th place for him at the moment. Bart is apparently keeping track of the scores. He's joined as a driver by mistake. That's fair enough, Bart. We've all done it, mate. We've all done it. Just over 4 minutes to go then in this qualifying session. The final qualifying session of the season. And I'm excited to see whether either Fletcher or Lansons can improve and take Tom Edmonds off the top spot. Now Mark is using the slipstream of his teammate in front of him there. It's the number 38 of Tom Dadswell. And he's got a long old run from up behind him here as they go down the Kemmel Straight. And you and me both, Mr. Schmansky. I love the Flemish liveries as well. Very pretty race cars. Don't forget as well, coming up on Chaz Draycott Media tomorrow, we have the next round of the Formula 1 World Championship, the CDM Formula 1 World Championship. It is the last race for 6 weeks. We're having the German Grand Prix from Hockenheim, but then we have our summer break before we head to the Hungaroring when we come back in August. And that'll be live tomorrow from 7:45 PM. Myself and Jack Johns on the commentary duty for that one. We have a number of drivers and changes to announce as well. They will be all sorted out and announced this evening. And hopefully it'll be just as close as the other races so far. Anyway, we look at the task at hand now, which is these beautiful Porsches. Callum Reid-Garton goes up into 6th place with a 2:19.906. Mathieu Soufi has improved on all of his current sectors at the moment as well. And that is close to being outside of track limits there for Mark Fletcher. It certainly was, I'd say, for Dadswell. But into Blanchimont they go. Doesn't sound to me like Mark was flat out for some reason there. I think maybe he is holding back from Dadswell, knowing that he can do a better lap and hoping for more slipstream. And yeah, he certainly is, isn't he? He's backing out. He's making sure that he's got a good gap to the car in front. Dan Berg is just about to complete a lap. He's coming round to Blanchimont up the hill. These cars look so good going through Blanchimont. Really is a phenomenal corner, isn't it? So difficult. Now these qualifying sessions, I believe, once they tick over, that's it. It doesn't let the guys get away with anything at all, because it's the heat racing format here with 2 races on the night. And Dan Berg has improved. Sits in 13th position at this current moment. Now, I'm not sure that Mark and Tom are going to make it round here, you know. Martin's got new pedals for Formula 1. Well, not specifically for Formula 1, of course, but new pedals are always nice to have. As straight on goes Tom Dadswell. Wow, Mark, that was a big save there as he came out of Bruchet. And I think he's given up on this lap being a fast one. We'll have to see whether he completes it and how he completes it. Here is Kimber Haight. Beautiful Flemish Sim Sports by Viracco. Yellow car charging its way up towards Blanchimont. And again, I'm not sure that he's going to get a lap in here, you know. I don't think he is. This is going to be really close. It's Hakon Grebstad right at the end. Goes second fastest to 2:19.409. And no, they do not get the laps in. So no new lap from Kimber Haight. He'll be absolutely gutted, well, you could say. He'll hate that. Oh, that's devastating for him. Absolutely devastating for him. But it's going to be pole position for Tom Edmonds then, for the final pole position of the season. And the cars start to line up on the grid now. This is how they'll line up them. Tom Edmonds and Hakon Grebstad on the front row. Senna Lansons and Mark Fletcher, the 2 title rivals. 5 thousandths between them. They share the second row. Tom Dadswell and Eystein Herfjord make up row 3 ahead of Callum Reid-Garton and Hans Polmans. Frederick van Eekhoven and outgoing champion Lewis Ward line up on row 5. Then we have Ronald Moons and Mathieu Soufi on row 6. Dan Berg is 13th ahead of Hendrik de Grave. Then it's Tyler Manning in 15th, Kimber Haight in 16th. Jakob Schmansky lines up at the back of the grid in 17th, and Bart Delman will not take to the circuit. So then, Tom Edmonds has chance to help his teammate Mark Fletcher here, who you will see on the right-hand side of the grid there. He's just blinking in and out a little bit. He's going to be trying to get the better of Senna Lansons, the red number 19 car there, starting second row. Keep your eye out for Senna. He's the one with the work to do, coming from behind in this championship fight. Coming into this meeting 1 point back from Mark Fletcher. It's ridiculously close. And I'm excited to see whether there are any dramas in this. Of course, we hope for a clean fight with no issues. But this is motorsport. You never know what you're going to get. Looks like we're getting the final car on the grid now. And maybe we'll have to wait the full 2 minutes because Bart Daleman is not taking to the grid. We're at 1 minute 55 now anyway, so in just a few seconds we should be ready to go green, and we are. So, the first race of the night in round 6 of the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series from Circuit Spa Francorchamps is go. Looks like a tidy start from the front row. Mark dives over to the right straight away. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and that is put pressure on Senna Lansons. He looks down the inside of the leader. Oh, no, there's contact with Håkon Grebstad. Mark manages to avoid it. Oh, there's more cars getting involved. That's Lewis Ward. Lewis Ward gets into Håkon Grebstad. The car has rolled backwards. Jakub Szymanski nearly gets involved in that. Looks to me like one of the other altitude cars was in that. That's Callum Reid-Garton. But it's a great start for Tom Edmonds. Senna Lansons put his nose down the inside. It was him, ultimately, that turned Håkon Grebstad, but you can argue that Håkon turned in on him. He didn't leave the space down the inside. In the background, we've got Hendrik de Grave with his two teammates side by side behind him. That's Matthew Sufi and Kim Behait. Kim just slotting in there ahead of Tyler Manning and Dan Berg. Now, two drivers have gained 6 places at the start of this race, and this is one of them. Kim, Hendrik de Grave has gained 6 as well, moving up from 14th into 8th position. Hans Polmans trying to get around the outside of Frederik van Eekhoven. The two of them nearly rubbing panels as they go right. And look at that, down the inside through Speaker's Corner. Hans Polmans gets it done. Just in front of him, Tom Dadswell acting as rear tail gunner to Mark Fletcher, but they both need to move forward rather than thinking about what's behind them. Senna Lansons, well, he's the next one that needs to move forward, isn't he? He's got that man there, Tom Edmonds, leading the race in front of him at the moment. Through the Fania chicane they go, also known as Piff Paff. And then into the double right-hander here towards the end of the lap. Stavolo. Everyone has different approaches to the exit of that corner when you get on the power, and how early you turn the car in and how you sort of work it on the brakes as well, really balance the car. It's not easy at all, this place. Look at that through Blanchimont. It's a wonderful sight, isn't it? Awesome to watch as they get hard onto the brakes now into the bus stop. We'll keep our eyes on the rest of the field as they all make their way in bit by bit. Tyler Manning and Dan Berg quite close together, the two teammates, numbers 14 and 18. Everybody that made it out of turn 1 has completed the lap, but we'll have a look back at the start and just see exactly what happened to Håkon Grebstad, because it seemed to me like he just turned in and Senna Lansons was already there. Look at Mark all the way over to the right. Senna covers it off. Håkon turns in. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't really leave much room at all on the inside, and he tries to let it... Well, it does roll, doesn't it? In all honesty, it does roll forward, but I think he was hoping it would continue rolling and get out of the way, and then these guys have another issue, and I think Lewis Ward... Oh, Lewis just drove it into the end of the pit wall further down the hill. So this is Dan Berg. Tyler Manning has had a fantastic start to the lap, and he's got round the Flemish cars. Brilliant stuff. He gets in front of the number 86 of Kimber Haight, and the Canadian goes through into 9th position. 6 places gained since the start of the race. That's a top effort. Eystein Herfjord is side by side with Dan Berg. Norwegian versus Dutch. And it is the former that takes the position as Dan Berg runs a little bit wide on the exit. It's very close for the lead, though, and it's starting to become more than just the top 2. Tom Edmonds leads. Senna Lansons in 2nd place. Mark Fletcher 3rd, and then more backup coming in the form of Tom Dadswell. So Mark is certainly in a good position here. There's no Renzo Eulenbroek tonight to help Senna Lansons. We know how fast Renzo is and how exciting he was to watch. He may have caused a few issues at Monza, but His pace was undeniable. We're on board now with Tom Dadswell, though, watching the battles ahead. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming going on here, and especially up the hill, up the Kemmel Straight. And as things stand, Senna leads the championship with 3 points. Thanks to Bart Daleman for the updates. He'll continue to provide them in the YouTube chat for you all, so I don't always have to repeat them, but for anyone not watching with the YouTube chat on, it might be worth it. Senna Lanson's down the inside, then that's going to extend his championship lead by even more, surely. I think there's 5 points difference between the top 2 positions, so surely that's 8 points. And Senna did do the fastest lap for a second there, but Hans Polmans now has that. He's becoming part of this train as well. It's a 6 Porsche train. Ronald Moon's in 7th, then Hendrik de Grave behind. Kimber Haight, Eystein Herfjord and Mathieu Soufi all close together. Mathieu now at the back of this trio, but he's going to be pushing hard to try and get some good slipstream up the hill. A fifth of the way through the race already as we come out of La Source, down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon. That is so sketchy up there, isn't it? Really, really is. Tom Edmonds has gone to the race lead by the look of it. And Senna Lanson's... Oh, no! Tom's off. Where is Tom? There he is. Tom Edmonds off at the side of the road. Has he clipped the grass? Has he been clipped? That's one of the main questions. Well, we'll have to have a look at it. So he's in the slipstream, pulls out to the left-hand side. Oh, and he just breaks earlier than Senna. He pulled in front of him to try and cover it off, but he broke earlier than him, and, well, I'm not sure that was really on Senna that much there. He sort of came across. He wasn't braking well. He did come across, though. There's certainly a lot of ways of looking at that, but either way, Senna Lanson's leads, and Mark Fletcher is right behind him. But Tom Edmonds, after leading the opening couple of laps of the race, is now way, way down the order with a very, very broken Porsche, I'm afraid. Senna leads, though, and the only GTE Racing by Red Ant car in the field is top of the pile, but not by too much at this stage, I should say. Lewis Ward and Bart Daleman, of course, showing us out. Lewis Ward did start the race, but unfortunately has not continued after his first lap shunt. This is Eystein Herfjord trying to get past Kimber Haight. Incredibly close through Blanchimont into the bus-stop chicane. Later on the brakes is Eystein. Much later, and he's got it round the outside. He's on the inside for the second part of the chicane. That's a beautiful move. Lovely stuff by the number 37 T3 Virtual Motorsport by Maniti car. You don't get much better than that. That was a great, great pass that was on Kimber Haight. Let's see it again. Moves over to the left. He knows that the outside becomes the inside. Kim goes nice and safe on the brakes. Eystein doesn't squeeze him. Just gets it done nice and cleanly. That was fantastic. Great move. Long may that sort of racing continue. So, Mark Fletcher now tucks in behind Senna Lansons, gives him a bit of a kiss on the way through. I'm sure that wasn't intentional. But Mark Fletcher now takes the race lead, and the championship advantage suddenly swings back his way. Tom Dadswell will now want to try and get through as well from third position. Bouncing and wobbling his way over the curbs. Senna closing in on Mark under brakes. Now surely here, if they're playing the team game, Mark will want to sort of try and back Senna into Tom. But you can't risk doing that with contact. Inevitable if you do. And part of me does think that Edmonds might have been trying to brake early to catch Senna out and maybe hold him up so Mark could go through. But Senna, it seemed like, just wanted to brake at his normal point. Very intriguing top three, though. Frederik van Eekhoven just behind this in fourth. He can smell the podium position, and surely Hans Polmans will be happy with a potential top five from where he currently is. Eystein Herfjord has moved forward and is now on the back of Tyler Manning. Canadian driver up 7 spots into 8th. Hendrik de Grave also up 7 spots into 7th. So the two of them sort of making their way up through the field together. Back to the top three. Through Blanchamont once more. They are literally a 12-wheeled Porsche. Mark moves over onto the racing line. Senna hard onto the brakes. As down the inside goes Dadswell. Dadswell puts his nose down the inside. Nothing doing there. Can he get a cut back on the exit? Lights up the rears. Fantastic save, but it doesn't help him in the long run. Mark tries to break that slipstream. And look at this. Frederik van Eekhoven suddenly comes into the picture as well. He wants a piece of this. Hans Polmans feels like getting involved as well. We'll go on board with Hansi. See what he gets in terms of a view of all of this. I hope the volume of my microphone's alright as well, by the way, because I noticed that recently all of my streams and all of my videos have been really, really quiet, so I've made a conscious effort to turn everything up and have everything a bit louder. So I hope it's alright and still sounds good. But look at this train of cars leading the race. It's fantastic. Then further back you've got Eystein Herfjord trying to go past Tyler Manning. He's got Kimber Haight making it 3 wide down the inside. Somehow Tyler Manning stays in front and he gets it stopped for the corner as well. Lovely driving by Tyler. Manages to keep these two at bay. I don't look really on Mark Fletcher's car, but here we go. This is the view back to the field chasing us down. Down the hill they go into Pouon, which apparently now these days it's called double gauche. And you'd be saying golly gauche if you lost it, to be honest with you. I sound glorious, Mr. Chaslington. And you can hear the cars okay, can you, boys? Thanks very much as well, Phil Reagan. Thank you, Mr. Hedge and Daswell. Cheers, boys. Appreciate the feedback and live feedback at that. But as long as you can hear the cars okay, that's what matters to me. Because in my headset, they sound really loud, but I know in the past they've been barely audible. Done a lot to split out audio and sort many a thing recently, so I've got more control over all of that sort of stuff. Someone who wants more control over, well, everything right now and the entire situation is Mark Fletcher. Jakub Szymanski's had an off and he's gone back to the pits. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. But this top five is phenomenally close. Great to watch them all winding their way through the bus stop chicane. It's going to become 6 because Ronald Moon's starting to close in as well on these guys for Berserk Racing. Let's have a look at what happened to Jakub Szymanski before these guys get to the back straight. He's got a bit of damage on the car already. Oh, the back end gets away from him. Whoa, then goes the other end up into the air. And that is that for Jakub Szymanski. That's a big old hit into the barrier, that. And that curb certainly catching him out. Oh, he says the machine broke. That's a shame. Sorry to see it, buddy. Now here we go. These two fighting for the championship side by side, giving each other plenty of space in a straight line. They can't risk anything. Mark knows the overlap's gone, gets right up behind Senna once more. Tom Dadswell stays in third position. We've just hit the halfway point of the race. So the tyres will become a talking point not long from now, as Kimber Haight and Eystein Herfjord just made contact there, did they not? Let's have a look again. Oh, yeah. Eystein just moves over to the left a little bit there. Wasn't completely straight. And unfortunately, Kim loses out because of that. Eystein gets away with it and chases down Tyler Manning, who's really got a lot of pressure being put on him right now. Eystein started 6th on the grid in this race, and he's lost a number of positions from then. Oh, Jakub said the car broke, not the actual machine. That's what you meant. I thought you might have done. Sorry, my bad. We do still have Callum Reid-Garton running, by the way. He's been into the pits and come back out after a not-so-fast repair. 3 3/4 minutes he was in the box for, but of course that includes time towing back to the pits as well. It's a long old circuit Spa, so it takes a while to tow back. But this gap has certainly opened up a little bit right now, hasn't it, for Senna Lansons? Mark Fletcher in 2nd place. Tom Dadswell in 3rd. And we've got Frederik van Eekhoven and Hans Polmans. They are becoming a bit more of a duo instead of part of the quintet. Must admit, though, that GTE Racing Red Ant car is possibly the best looking car on the grid. It's a gorgeous machine. Really do love the livery. Frederik van Eekhoven's car as well in that sort of Miami blue. Looks gorgeous. It's almost like a cyan, really, isn't it? And of course, the Flemish Sim Sports cars, always beautiful. We love having them on our grids here at NEVO. And I love having them on my channel at Chaz Draycott Media. Up the hill again. Senna Lanson's leading the race. Lap 7. 14 minutes done, nearly 15. Senna now losing out to Mark Fletcher. There he goes. Mark just covers off the line as best he can. Keeps it nice and tidy. Through Malmedy. A little bit hesitant on the way through, but still. It's a very, very close battle, isn't it? You can feel a bit of tension in the air as well, hoping for no contact between these two. We want to keep it nice and respectful, nice and clean. It'd be good to try and speak to Senna after the race as well, actually. Usually the Red Ant boys, once they finish the race, they just disappear. They just fly away. But it'd be good to have a chat with him, regardless of how this final race meeting goes. But there really is a bit of a stalemate at the moment, the slipstream being the only factor that's sort of keeping them changing position. Dan Berger's had an issue. I think he's just going to go straight on down here. Oh, he's got in too hot, locked up. Is he going to keep it out of the barriers? Oh, just about, no. Or, in better English, not quite, I think would be the right phrase to use, wouldn't it, Chaz? Flipping out. Anyway, Fletcher now has Lanson's tucked right up behind him once more. Frederik van Eekhoven's getting closer to Tom Dadswell. He's sort of in slipstreaming range. He's about half a second back, but we need to look at these two because they're the closest out of all of them, and they are the two most important drivers out of all of them. Both of them want to take the title this evening. One of them has to take the title this evening. Dadswell now looking for an opportunity to try and maybe take a bit of pressure off his teammate by attacking Senna Lansons. Frederik van Eekhoven and Hans Polmans are completely impartial in this moment in time. Maybe the pair of them hoping for their countryman Senna Lansons, the Belgian, to take this. Out of all of them, there are the nationalities on the left-hand side of the screen. So you can see quite how this battle works out. It's the two Brits, Fletcher and Dadswell, sandwiching Senna Lansons, the Belgian. And I totally agree with you, Mr. Kenyon, who has pointed out that you'd want to be behind on the last lap. Because with all this slipstreaming, look, it's a guaranteed position change as Senna, well, just runs into the back of Mark down the straight, tries to then take it around the outside, but no. Mark defends well. Nice respect, though, by Senna. You know, he didn't force the issue too much. He didn't try and force his way around the outside and squeeze Mark into a gap. He just did what he needed to do. As for some reason, Tyler Manning was going slowly there, and I think... I'm not quite sure what happened here. Øystein Herfjord has passed him. Tyler Manning was going slowly there. It was odd. It was almost like he was waiting for something or serving a slowdown. I was just trying to see if I could find why, but doesn't seem to be any off tracks or anything. Mark is all over the road here as he comes out of Pouhon. Tries to sort of cover off the inside line before the Fagnes chicane and then dives over to the left-hand side of the circuit. These guys are so close together, aren't they? Frederik van Eekhoven now getting really close to the back of Dadswell. This is great racing. Really, really great racing between all of these drivers. Up through the gears we go towards Blanchimont once more. Very close to the edge of the circuit. Lift on the way through. Keep it nice and tidy. Now what's going to happen with these guys right at the front, though? Dadswell again trying to look for a move on Senna Lansons, but nothing doing yet. Not got many laps to go here at Spa. Nearly 19 minutes in the book as of this moment. And this could go anybody's way still. Down the hill. Speed building very, very quickly here towards Eau Rouge. It feels horrible then when you've got to go on the uphill Kemmel Straight, and it feels like the car has got no power at all. Seems like you're climbing and climbing forever. Mark moves over to the left. He's going to make Senna go to the right. Oh, there's a bit of a kiss maybe between the two. Senna's pushing his luck here. We don't want any contact between the pair of them. Mark brakes later. Senna has to actually defend from Dadswell, who tries to make it around the outside of the first part of the chicane, which would have then become the inside, but no, doesn't quite work for him that time round. But you can see the teamwork starting to come into effect here for the altitude guys. They know that this is important for Mark to extend that championship lead by just a couple more points in this first race. That helps him put one hand on the trophy as champion. This is really nerve-wracking. 5 minutes to go here at Spa Francorchamps. Surely 2 more laps. In fact, it's pretty much guaranteed we'll have 2 more laps. 2 minutes 20 seconds for a lap round here in these cars. Takes us to 4 minutes 40. I know, I'm good at maths, aren't I? Now Hansi's trying to get past Frederick van Eekhoven here as well. He can see all this battling going on in front, and he's thinking, you know what, Frederick, we could both get a podium out of this. You know, if this all goes completely to pot, we could be all right. It's a shame we lost Tom Edmonds from the race as well. Pole position. Scored him an extra point. You get a point for fastest lap as well. And at the moment, it looks like Tom Dadswell holds that honour. A 2:20.6. No, 2:20.2 by Hans Polmans, actually. Is quite convincingly the fastest lap of the race. The man we rode on board with just there. Mark is pushing hard. Apparently Jakub Szymanski's watching Mark's stream as well. I'd try and get it up on screen if I could, to be honest with you. But I think it'd kill my internet if I was streaming that in here and then trying to send it back out. I've got a very sensitive and limited bandwidth, unfortunately. These guys have got very sensitive and limited amounts of space, to be fair. They're all very close together. But you have to say, respect to them. It's been a really clean race so far. You could argue that the contact with Senna Lansons and Tom Edmonds was a racing incident. I think it was. The amount of times we've seen contact into that chicane is many. As again, there's a little bit of a kiss there. Senna really driving his car into the back of Mark. He's going to try and go late on the brakes. Dadswell looks down the inside. Needs to be careful though, because that forces Senna to come off the brakes to try and carry a bit more speed in, and if he does that, he might hit the back of Fletcher. They both need to be very careful with that. This is Hendrik de Grave and Eystein Herfjord having a bit of a fight. Tyler Manning and Kimber Hayter are also close together just behind them. Final places in the top 10. Then it's Sufi, Berg, Grebstad and Callum Reid Garton still running. I'll show you the track map at the moment. That's where the field is, and then, well, Callum, he's about 2/3 of a lap behind everybody, as well as being another lap down on top. My fan club has turned up in the chat by the look of it. Apparently they're up for anything by the look of it. Anyway, Mark Fletcher, well, he's just up for having a clean final lap here. However, he's going to be the one that has to defend like mad from Senna Lansons. You can argue that Senna has been waiting for this final lap to really make a go of it, but well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It depends on the defending that we can get from Mark. But look, if Tom Dadswell can get past Senna Lansons now, this is really important for the championship because it helps his teammate out. He's around the outside on the way into Blanchimont. He's not left with much space, but he's still around the outside. He blinks in and out. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Somehow they both get away with it. He's down the inside into the bus stop, and if he gets this move done, this could be really pivotal. Senna squeezes him to the first apex. It's amazing driving by Lansons to still make the corner. Shovels him out a little bit wide. You could argue that was just understeer. And nothing malicious. Senna squeezes him over to the right, leaves enough of a car's width, then moves back over to the left, but Dadswell still there. Tries to go later on the brakes. Does he make the corner? That's also important here. He backs out of it so he doesn't hit Senna. That's really good awareness. Fair play, boys. Wow. I'm nervous for them right now. One man I'm nervous for, though, is Mark Fletcher. We're going to go on board with the left rear because look at the gap. The gap is over, well, it was over a second, but it's now 9/10. There is going to be a bit of slipstream back to Senna here. And he's moved over to the left, actually, to try and cover off any attack from Dadswell. Mark just moving one way then the other, breaking any slipstream there is. This is going to have to be one hell of a final half a lap by Senna Lansons, who's still under attack from Tom Dadswell. He's now under attack from Frederik van Eekhoven. There's a space down the inside. Hans Polmans tries to go for the gap that remains as well. He's now down the inside at Malmedy. Nearly contact between the two. Frederik van Eekhoven makes it through and holds on to 4th position. Lansons, though, breaks away from the three of them with that happening. He's now completely undistracted to go after Mark in this last half a lap. The only slipstreaming opportunity he's going to have is going to be on the way up to Blanchimont, and I don't think he's close enough. Can you get slowdowns for running that wide there? I think he used to. Not sure if he can anymore. What a brilliant first race of the night, though. Even if it all goes to pot here, this would be one of the absolute highlights of the season. We're about to... Well, we have hit 25 minutes, actually. When I just looked a moment ago, we had a good 15 seconds left, but no. Just hit 25 minutes, so race capacity done. Wow, Senna Lansons completely sideways as he came around there. That looked amazing. Completely sideways, floated into shot. Oh, you've got to love a bit of that. It's not quite showboating because he's not leading the race, but Mark Fletcher now with the gap. It's half a second. It's going to come down by a few tenths, sure. But I don't think it's going to be enough. That's not enough for Senna Lansons, I should say. Don't think he's going to get it done unless we see something banzai and completely ridiculous on the brakes here. But I still don't think it's going to be enough to unsettle Mark. Senna does go deep on the brakes. He does a great job at trying it. Hats off to Senna. But taking the first win of the night in very important fashion is Mark Fletcher from Altitude Esports. Great performance by Mark. Really good battle. And Senna finishes second. Dadswell finishes third ahead of Van Eekhoven and Polmans. Not a fan of Senna just pulling over and disappearing like that. Sort of kills the moment. But Hans Polmans fifth. Ronald Moons finishes sixth ahead of Eystein Herfjord in 7th place. Hendrik de Grave finishes in 8th position with Kimber Haight 9th. Tyler Manning rounds out your top 10. Then we have Matthew Sufi and Dan Berg across the line. Hakon Grebstad is the next one behind them. But Mark Fletcher, well, that will mean the world to Mark. His team really helped him out there. Tom Dadswell did a great job. Tom Edmonds was amazing in the opening couple of laps. But wow, that was close, wasn't it? That was very, very close. Really entertaining racing all the way through from all of the drivers. And well done to them. That is nerve-wracking stuff. Well, we hope for more of that from the second race for sure. It would be absolutely awesome to see another race just like that one, please. So, if you're listening, boys, do that again. That would be mega. So, what do you think will happen in the final race then, everybody? Because it could go either way still. Senna Lansons with a strong second place, though, still. That's a lot of points for his championship charge. And we'll have a look at the race results in just a moment. We'll give Callum Reid-Garton a bit of airtime. He's just coming into the final corners now, after being quite a while down on the field, unfortunately, due to that first lap incident. But fair play, Callum got back in the car, and he went on and on and on, and still finishes the race. Pretty sure he'll still get points for that as well, so fair play, Callum. Now we wait for an update on Bart Daleman, or from Bart Daleman, to let us know exactly what the points look like, but we'll have a quick look through at your race results from that one. Mark Fletcher takes the win, less than 0.4 of a second ahead of Senna Lansons by the end. A fantastic final half a lap or so by Senna. That was really, really impressive. Tom Dadswell, he was next up in 3rd position, getting a podium for Altitude Esports. Frederik van Eekhoven finishes 4th ahead of Hans Polmans. Can't get my words out tonight. Ronald Moons finishes 6th ahead of Eystein Herfjord. Hendrik de Grave and Kimber Haight make it 3. There you go. Flemish Sim Sports cars in the top 10. Tyler Manning finishes in 10th place. Matthew Sufi was next up ahead of Dan Berg and Hakon Grebstad. Then Callum Reid-Garton, the final finisher. Jakob Szymanski, Tom Edmonds and Lewis Ward did not complete the race. Well, Tyler Manning has got straight on with it and gone out there for some warm-up time. But we wait to see what comes our way in the second race. Well, actually, I tell you what, we'll bring up the results once again and have a look at these, because the reverse grid this evening is 7. Eystein Herfjord is going to start from pole position with Ronald Moons alongside him. Then it's going to be Hans Polmans and Frederik van Eekhoven, Tom Dadswell and Senna Lansens. Then Mark Fletcher will start alongside Hendrik de Grave on the 4th row. And then it will be Kimberhay and everybody else down in the same order. What was your favourite moment from that race, though? Let us know in the comments. And what you expect to see from the next one. Mark Fletcher extends his championship lead, but only by a couple of points in that one. And I've just had the standings. Thank you very much to Bart Daleman. The championship lead is now 6 points from Mark. And Tom Dadswell is no longer in mathematical chance of taking the title either. He's 54 points back. But he is 4 points clear now of Eystein Herfjord in the T3 machine. Let's not forget, though, that Eystein's going to be right up there in the reverse grid for this race. So maybe Tom might have a little bit more work to do to decide that position. They're 20 points clear of Lewis Ward, who, of course, retired from that race. So Lewis, unfortunately, out of the fight for third now. And it's still tied between Renzo Uhlenbroek and Tom Edmonds. Neither of them scoring points in that race, of course, because Renzo's not here and Tom had that crash. So there's still changes going on in the field and going on in the championship standings. There's not many cars out on track at the moment. Tyler Manning is out there, though. Warm-up is just a few minutes long, but if you do bear with me for just a couple of them, everybody, I will be right back with you here on Chaz Draycott Media. I'll see you in a sec. Well, you can't deny that Tyler Manning is entertaining, can you? He's certainly providing us with some great entertainment in the warm-up session here at Spa Francorchamps. He's the only car out on track, unfortunately, so the cameras don't have much else to look at, but he's doing a good job of this, isn't he? Still entertaining us all the way. Thank you very much, Tyler, for your services to entertainment. I'm not quite sure it'll get you an OBE, but even still, well done. So the championship fight then, 6 points between the two of them, Mark Fletcher and Senna Lansens. There are 5 points different. Oh, Tyler's. Well, Tyler. Shush, I'm trying to explain something. Oh no. Oh my. I was hoping that wasn't his teammate then and we weren't going to see a massive accident. But there are 6 points between the top two right now in the championship, and I believe there are 5 points between the top two finishing positions in each race. So if the two championship protagonists do end up being in first and second in this final race, then it is Mark's championship, no matter which way round that is, even if Senna wins the race and Mark is second. For Senna to be champion and him win the race, Mark would have to be third or lower. That's how close it is here, because they only finished one position apart in that race there. It's just going to be ridiculously close. So, spoilers in the pack here could... Oh, okay, Jakob. Spoilers in the pack here could be Håkon Grebstad, Eystein Herfjord, of course. He's going to be starting from pole position in this race. So he is definitely the man to watch. And here is your grid. Eystein Herfjord, as mentioned. Ronald Moons alongside him. Hans Polmans and Frederik van Eekhoven make up the next row of the grid. Then it's Tom Dadswell and Senna Lansens, the man that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Mark Fletcher in 7th. Hendrik de Grave in 8th. Kimber Haight in 9th. And Tyler Manning in 10th position. Matthew Sufi is 11th with Dan Berg alongside him. It's Håkon Grebstad and Callum Reid-Garton. Look for those guys coming through from the back of the pack. Jakob Szymanski 15th. Tom Edmonds as well. Keep your eye out for him. I'm not sure if we're going to get Lewis Ward to the grid, unfortunately. I think he may have left the session and finished his evening early. Well, the cars are there behind the grandstand somewhere. There they are lining up on the grid now. Ronald Moons on the right-hand side of your shot. Eystein Herfjord on the left-hand side of your shot. This is it then, the final race of the season here in the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series. And this man right now, Mark Fletcher, will be feeling a lot of nerves as we get ready to go racing at Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Everyone puts the cars in gears, gets ready to go, and the final race of the season is underway. And it's a tidy start from the 4th and 5th cars. That is Frederik van Eekhoven and Tom Dadswell. Brilliant getaway from both of them. They absolutely dispose of Hans Polmans and Ronald Moons, although there's contact between the pair of them at the start. Senna Lansens. Senna's caught up in a bit of contact there and he gets held up. That's the 87 of Hendrik de Grave going backwards. Senna Lansens loses places. Mark Fletcher is 2 places ahead of Senna. That puts him in the championship lead. Ronald Moons got held up in all of that as well. There's Tom Edmonds coming through. He's gained 5 places already off the start. That's amazing stuff. Jakob Szymanski trying to get past Dan Berg there as well. But Eystein Herfjord leads the way from Dadswell, Polmans, Eekhoven and Fletcher. And now there's a car with a slowdown penalty, and that is number 86 of Kimber Haight. So that means that Senna Lansens is 1 position directly behind Mark. And there was damage to Hendrik de Grave's car that he can't repair. Jakob Szymanski's gone off the circuit again. He hates this track. But we need to have a look back at that start from Senna Lansens' point of view. So he builds up the revs. And watch the 2 cars in front. Look at them. They both move over to their respective right-hand sides. That is a brilliant getaway by Van Eekhoven and Dadswell. This is what happened then. So there's contact as Van Eekhoven turns in. Dadswell runs wide. And then, Senna turns into the back of Ronald Moons. And then the car clips across the front of him. That's the number 87 of Hendrik de Grave, who we just mentioned there. So Senna clearly didn't want to wait around and lose more positions. He put his foot flat to try and straighten up Ronald Moons. And unfortunately, it didn't work out as a long-run plan. So, 2 championship protagonists are literally on your screen right now. Senna Lansens trying to chase down Mark Fletcher. It looked like Senna's championship was already over for a moment there, but no, it is definitely not. He is all over the back of Mark right now, and they are both in the middle of this train. Hard onto the brakes, into the bus stop for the first time. Van Eekhoven's on the inside line there, trying to either defend from Mark or attack Hans Polmans, who's currently in 3rd. Senna Lansens, despite that contact, is actually still where he started the race. It's just Mark's moved forward 2 spots. Tom Dadswell He's moved up as well, and look at that, Håkon Grebstad. I said he could be a spoiler in the pack here for Senna's championship, and he has been. He's gone down the inside and he's taken a place. He's taken more points away from him. Well, that's perfect for where Mark Fletcher sits right now. He'll be really happy with that. Long may that continue, we'll say, Mark. Back at the front, though, the gorgeous T3 machine of Øystein Herfjord leads Tom Dadswell. What a great start he had as well. Interested to see how it looked from his point of view. Started 5th on the grid here. You've got 2 cars ahead of us on the right, 2 cars on the left. Barely any wheel spin at all. Great launch. Let's just see how he does into turn 1. He was a little bit hot on the way in, to be fair. Runs wide, but doesn't really suffer from the contact. And unfortunately, the problems all kick off from there. Now, Mark Fletcher would have been Håkon Grebstad's best friend a moment ago because they're both in metallic blue, black and white cars. And Håkon chucked his car in front of Senna Lanssen's. But what he's doing right now is attacking the back of Mark as well. So he's showing that he's got no favourites in this situation. And I'm very, very nervous for both of these guys. Senna Lanssen's is sort of waiting for an opportunity to come his way, I think. As Håkon looks down the inside of Mark again. And with Tom Dadswell up in 3rd place. He's fighting with Øystein Herfjord for 3rd in the championship, let's not forget. It's very, very close between them going into this. There's only a handful of points between the two of them. 4, in fact. And I think, actually, with the current positions, that will be 1 in the favour of Herfjord. Through Blanchimont for the 2nd time. Everybody running wide there. Get a collective off track. As down the inside of Mark goes Håkon Grebstad. Nearly making contact into the bus stop. Mark doesn't need that, but Senna does. Senna wants that. Yeah, Øystein is now 2 points ahead. Bart confirms. And there's more battling and more battling as Håkon Grebstad throws it upside the inside. Throw it upside the inside, downside, inside, left side, right side of Mark Fletcher. And now Mark tucks back in behind him, but he's not going to get much of a slipstream from right behind him like that. As they go onto the Kemmel Straight, he might have a bit of aero wash as well as they go up through Radion. And now Senna Lanssen's is going to tuck in behind him. He's going to catch him up very, very quickly here. Moves over to the left-hand side straight away. Gets the slipstream off the cars in front. Mark tries to squeeze him to the left. And there's barely a car's width there. They need to both be very careful. Mark's got the inside line, though. Senna's going to try and carry it around the outside to become the inside, but no. Doesn't work for him. Tyler Manning very close with Tom Edmonds, who's made up 8 places to be where he is right now. It's a fantastic couple of opening laps by Tom. But the whole field is so, so close. Have a look at this. Look at this entire group at the front of the pack. This top 7 really stuck together. And it's Øystein Herfjord leading them. And then you can see Håkon Grebstad. I mean, he's doing an amazing job in the middle here. The black, blue and white number 73 car. Constantly moving forward. He's gained 8 spots from where he started. He qualified right on the front row, let's not forget, in the first race. And he looks down the inside of Frederik van Eekhoven. Nearly hits him there. He sort of ekes his way down the inside, you could say, on Frederik van Eekhoven. Doesn't quite get the nose alongside, though, so Frederik is just staying in front for now. But for how much longer? On the run up to Blanchimont once again. Just love listening to that 4-litre flat 6. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? As down the inside, Håkon Grebstad. Wow. Very late on the brakes. Unless he's going to hold the pair of them up, though, and that's going to hold Mark Fletcher up in turn. And look at that run that Håkon's got there. Can Mark go with him on the right-hand side of Frederik van Eekhoven? It doesn't look like it. He's just tucking into the slipstream for now. I think Mark's going to go for the move, though, surely. Trying to go later on the brakes? No. He's going to try and use the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight, but again, he starts very close to the back of the car in front, so you're not going to get that much of a run. Øystein Herfjord continues to lead this race from Dadswell and Polmans. Those two holding on to their respective podium positions. Now what can Mark do here? I think Lansons is backing off here, you know. He's not really catching up with them, to be honest with you. As there's a move further forward, Eystein Herfjord, well, he's dropped down to 3rd position all of a sudden. Tom Dadswell and Hans Polmans go through. I think Eystein maybe got a slowdown penalty. No, doesn't look like it. Let's go a bit further forward. No, it's just absolutely freight trained down the straight. Hansi tries it on the right. Oh, nearly contact there with Dadswell, but he leads this race now from Polmans, then Herfjord, Hakon Grebstad, Frederick van Eekhoven's got Mark Fletcher all over the back of him. And he in turn has got Senna Lansons all over the back of him. We just really hope, don't we? We really hope that this does not go to pot, because it's been insanely good racing so far. And I hope to see another series of this Porsche Cup. We may not have the biggest grids, but it's a decently sized grid, and it's provided fantastic racing on each night that we've seen. Hats off again to the NEVO guys for sorting this one out, and thanks for having me on board for it. I'll be returning to your screens with NEVO, actually, with the NEVO British Formula 4 Championship, or the IRO4. We're not allowed to refer to it as Formula 4 Car Championship. Well, they say that anyway. I don't think you can call the car Formula 4, but it is effectively a Formula 4 Championship still. Tom Dadswell leads this race, and he has got pressure from Hans Polmans, who would be absolutely delighted with an overall race victory, I'm sure. Tom is doing a great job at holding on at the minute. Hansi parks it on the apex at the start of the chicane, gets a good run on the exit. Eystein Herfjord completely sideways on the exit as well, and look at this. The top 7 cars here separated by 1.9 seconds as they cross the line. Down the inside goes Herfjord. Does he get an overlap on Polmans? A little bit, nearly contact. The splitter just scraping its way underneath the rear bumper there. And now Hakon Grebstad tries to overtake his countryman. It's the two Norwegians glued together as they go down towards Eau Rouge. You can hear him lifting slightly. Stays in 5th gear to make sure he gets the acceleration on the exit. That is a lot of curb by Eystein Herfjord. I would not be surprised if that's a slowdown. Dadswell now side by side with Polmans, who moves over to his left-hand side. Fletcher has got Senna Lansson still right behind him. Herfjord, no. Round the outside, tries to make it 3 wide into Lecom. Doesn't quite work the first time round, but he manages to get it stopped for the corner. Hakon Grebstad, a little bit of a tap on Dadswell. Don't think Tom left the room down the inside. And Fletcher's lost a place to Senna Lansons, and Senna's going to go through on his teammate as well now. What has happened there? I think Mark's gone off the circuit. All of a sudden, the 3 of them all together. There was contact there, surely, between Dadswell and Lansons. Either that or Lansons has hit the back of the car in front of Fletcher, slowing down again as he had a slowdown penalty. Is that what it is? Let's have a look. Mark's on the brakes. Oh, he's gone in too hot. Oh, he's locked up and he's gone straight on, and that will be a slowdown penalty. Oh, that's devastating for Mark Fletcher. He drops down to 8th position, and surely that puts the championship back in Senna Lanson's pocket. Either that, or, well, it's not back in his pocket. It finally goes into his pocket. Last lap of the season, 14 minutes to go here at Circuit Spa Francorchamps, and it is all on the line. Not sure if Bart can confirm the points based on Senna being in 5th and Mark in 8th, but I'm pretty sure that would change the order in the championship and put Senna as champion. Here's Callum Reid-Garton all over the back of Ronald Moons, who unfortunately hasn't recovered from that first lap contact. Callum, though, showing us just how quick he is with this great charge through the field. But Hakon Grebstad, well, he's my driver of the race so far. Started 13th on the grid after that initial first race incident, and he has been amazing in this one. Still in 3rd place. Now, where is Fletcher in all this? He's 2 seconds off the car in front, so he needs to catch up with Tom Edmonds. And it's not as easy as that, because Edmonds wants to stay with the train in front of him. Everybody's doing personal bests at the moment as the field spreads out a little bit. And yeah, Bart confirming there, Senna leads by 5 points with the championship like this, so P5 would give him an advantage of 5. But that is very wide over Erosion Radion. People are really getting close there with slowdown penalties. And they need to be careful. Eystein Herfjord goes back to the front of the field. Hakon Grebstad tries to go for the middle, and he does make it into the middle. There's contact with Polmans, and he runs wide. Herfjord is wise to it. Fantastic awareness by Eystein. Fair play to him, but he's lost positions in the process. Frederick van Eekhoven down the inside, opportunistic as ever. Senna Lansens tries to come through. He's going to gain even more points if it goes this way. And Dadswell's had a slowdown penalty as well now. He has to back out of it. Senna Lansens gets another place round the outside of Bruchet. Doesn't quite work there, though. Frederick van Eekhoven's going to have the inside, but not the overlap as they go down towards Speaker's Corner. And through he goes. And Fletcher would still be leading with 3 points if it is as it is. Now, did Fletcher gain a place from Tom Dadswell? No, he did not. Fletcher still in 8th place. Now Senna Lansens up to 4th. Surely that would be a 1 point difference, I think, wouldn't it, Bart? I'm sort of communicating with Bart indirectly here, in a way. But wow, what a fantastic race we're having so far. Spa Francorchamps was never going to disappoint. And my God, it's not. Although Eystein Herfjord now right in the way of Senna Lansens. He's holding him up here through the Fania chicane. Looked like he made a bit of a mistake on the way in. He got very lucky. Very lucky, because look at this. This is the move earlier. Hakon Grebstad goes in. Hansi's just coming over slightly to the left. There's that tiny touch. Grebstad goes deep because of that. There's a touch between him and Herfjord as well. And somehow they all make it through. Great racing. Absolutely great racing by all of them. Here's a quick look at how the entire field is spread out so far. Look at that. One big train. You've got to love it. It's very, very close. Hans Polmans leads this, though, for Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco. He's part of the white team. Senna needs to finish 3rd with Fletcher in 8th to win the championship. So if Mark can catch up, then it means an extra position that Senna will have to get ahead of him, basically. It would be a shame to see either Edmonds or Dadswell slow it down to let Mark through. But you can't put it past them with team orders at the end of the day. They're in the position to do that. There's nothing that says they can't, really. That's just how championships work in motorsport, I'm afraid, Senna. But still, he's doing an amazing job, isn't he? He's on his own right now. He's not got his teammate with him or anything. And he's against a team of 5 cars in this championship. And what a great job Senna is doing. He's amazing. As down the inside, Hans Polmans having to defend, actually, from Hakon Grebstad, who is in the lead of this race. 13th on the grid. Takes the race leaders. Oh, no. Herfjord puts his nose down the inside. And that's going to slow him down. I thought he was going to make contact with Polmans then, and Senna Lansens was going to get caught up in it. But what it's done is mean that Senna Lansens can go a place ahead. That puts him in the championship lead. There's contact there with Herfjord. Goes into the back of him. And now behind them, Frederick van Eekhoven trying to get through. Herfjord's down the inside. He runs deep. Van Eekhoven then runs wide on the exit of Speaker's Corner. Tom Edmonds is up into 5th place here. He's gained an amazing amount of places. 11 from the start of this. Frederick van Eekhoven now becomes car 7, P7. There is 1 point for fastest lap as well. Let's not forget that. And the fastest lap by anybody at the moment is Hans Polmans, a 2:21.02. So once again, Hansi being the fastest man on track. Although I've been told that Tom has fastest lap, does he? I've seen it as Hansi with a 2:21.02. Maybe that lap didn't count. Maybe it's still showing me that even though it was an invalid lap time. We'll have to see. Hakon Grebstad leads this race though. Fantastic drive from 13th on the grid. He's really been exciting. And with Senna Lansens 3rd, that is championship winning position for the Belgian. Hans Polmans in front of him. Could have the opportunity to help out his countrymen here, but we'll have to wait and see. Eystein Herfjord could still spoil the party. Tom Edmonds and Tom Dadswell, Tom Squadron, both trying to make it through. Mark Fletcher's now on the back of this train. That is important for him. 8.5 minutes left of this race. 8.5 minutes left of this championship. And only 1 point is in it. Although I think, no, it's 2 championship points at the moment. Apparently we can get more cuddling time than Tinder, according to our new fans. Nice to see you. You can take your emojis and Uber Jagger. There's a race going on. Eystein Herfjord still trying to cling on to the back of Senna Lansens, and look at Hans Polmans with Hakon Grebstad. He's not giving him an inch, is he? Moves over to the left, tries to go around the outside on the way into Lake Com. Hakon's gone a little bit deep by the look of it. And there is contact. Oh, Hansi's not going to take to that too well. But look, Senna Lansons is there. And once again, an incident in front of him means position. Contact, and Hansi's off the road once more. Edmonds goes through. Dadswell goes through. But that's even more work for Mark Fletcher to do now. And he's still at the back of this train, unable to get past Frederik van Eekhoven. Senna Lansons into second place. Somehow has turned this race around. What an amazing drive, it has to be said, by Senna Lansons. Considering that at turn 1 it looked like it was all over. Can't believe it. Well, it's certainly been a dramatic finale. It's been a fair one, you have to say. The only thing that's up in the air, really, is the contact between Senna Lansons and, of course, Tom Edmonds in the first race. I'm not really sure myself about turn 1. It didn't look that protestable against Senna, and to be honest, I wouldn't want it to come down to something like that. You know, he's been amazing tonight. He's doing everything he needs to do. Yes, Mark may have beaten him in that first race, but Senna was right there with him, attacking every single lap. It's just that he got outnumbered. And here they are from a distance. Look at how well spread out they all are, though. There's so many of them together. This lead train is 8 cars long, and there's only 2 seconds separating them through the high-speed traps. Round Blanchimont once more. Ooh, it looked like Hakon Grebstad was a bit sideways there, to be honest with you. Mark Fletcher surely has to go for a move on Frederik van Eekhoven, and he does. He can't waste any time right now, can Mark. He's down the inside of Hansi as well, but I don't think he's going to make that work this time round. This is where Mark needs to step on it now. He needs to make these manoeuvres, but Senna, well, he could happily sit in second place, but the problem for him now is that these cars behind him are going to have the slipstream on him. This is incredible racing. I've just had a congratulations from Restream for getting 100 chat messages. That's patronising, thank you. 19.5 minutes gone. Senna Lansons tries to go for the race lead. Now that is a big chunk of points. If he can get the race lead, that is a lot more to help his tally. Where's Mark in all of this? Mark trying to get past Hans Polmans. Hansi moves over to the left. Senna doesn't go for the lead, or he doesn't get it anyway. Tom Edmonds and Eystein Herfjord side by side. Oh, they're all over each other, but only just missing out. Look how close Edmonds was there. Oh no, Tom's just tapped him. I don't know why, but Tom went left. Car was there. Oh, more contact as they go down the hill. That's not going to go down well at all. And now Dadswell trying to get involved. Hansi trying to get involved. Mark Fletcher wants to just get past all of them. He's saying, stuff it, move out of the way, boys. All this time, Senna Lansons is getting away. And that means that it's cars that will not be overtaking him because of slipstreaming, which is the easiest way for them to do it down the Kemmel Straight. This means that Senna has a chance to go for the race lead overall, rather than having to defend from this train and being held up. Hansi's defending really well here from Mark Fletcher. And it's exactly what Mark doesn't want. I think he was even flashing the lights at him there, to be honest with you, on the way into the Vanya chicane. He's going to be trying absolutely everything to try and claim this title in the last few laps. So we're going to get 2 more laps here at Spa Francorchamps to decide this title. Hakon Grebstad leads. Senna Lansons is second. Then it's Tom Edmonds, Eystein Herfjord, Tom Dadswell, Hans Polmans and Mark Fletcher and Frederik van Eekhoven. This whole train separated by 2.5 seconds as they got towards Blanchimont. Looks like Lansons is going for the lead. I think he had to back out there on the way out of Blanchimont. They're all going to bunch up once more. Tom Edmonds now in third place. He's going to be the key ingredient here, I think, for Altitude Esports. Mark is the boss man as well, so they'll all want to please him as much as they can with their performances on track. Down through the gears. Big clunk in this Porsche. Amazing gear change sounds. And up we go through the gears again, but down the hill. Now Tom Edmonds is only 4 tenths behind Senna Lansons, so the slipstream is there if he needs it. But Senna, let's not forget, is going to get slipstream from Hakon Grebstad. Let's go on board. And look at the closing speed. This has suddenly all come back together now for Altitude. There's a push in front. Senna pushing Hakon. Tom Edmonds down the inside on the way into Lake Common. He's done it. Gets the move, but Senna around the outside. Amazing stuff. Senna runs wide, though, as Tom has a bit of a wiggle mid-corner, and Eystein Herfjord's involved in this. Tries to go around the outside of Malmedy. There's more contact. Eystein Herfjord's off the road. He bounces back on. Where's Fletcher in that? Oh, I was scared for his life that he was going to get caught up in that. But Senna ultimately there has lost a place while Mark has gained one. Not sure there was anything untoward in that by Edmonds, to be fair. He just lost it. But can you believe this? From Edmonds and Grebstad, they're first and second in this race. And they started 13th and 16th on the grid. That is absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Incredible driving by these two. You cannot knock it. It's awesome. Eystein Herfjord is out of the race, though, by the look of it, I'm afraid. Senna just ran a little bit wide through Malmedy. And that could come back to bite him, to be honest with you. I'll have another quick look at it, though. So Eystein's on the outside. Senna, he just gets on the curb, in fairness to him, you know. Just gets on the curb, and Van Eekhoven gets lucky there, to be fair, to not hit Eystein. We're now coming on to what's going to be the final lap of the race. The two championship protagonists are 3rd and 6th. Senna Lansons for GTE Racing by Red Ant in 3rd position. Mark Fletcher for Altitude Esports Fletcher, the boss man, is in 6th position. And you can bet now that Tom's squadron, Tom Edmonds and Tom Dadswell, are going to defend and attack, respectively, for their lives for Mark to win this championship. Now, it's a huge slide by Tom Dadswell out of the final corner. Onto the final lap. Barney dusts the flag off against the wall, and this entire 6-car train is involved in a championship fight, which comes down to just 2 of the drivers in the thick of it. Let's go on board with Senna Lansons, though, and see what he does about the slipstreaming as we go down the hill now. Tango's Malinois in the chat. Greetings from Denmark. Hope all is doing good, mate. This is an amazing race. It is an absolutely amazing race. Senna Lansons and Mark Fletcher battling for the title inside this entire pack. As to the lead goes Tom Edmonds. If he wins this race from 16th on the grid after being out on the first couple of laps of the first one, I will absolutely eat one of my own socks. As he manages to go around the outside of Hakon in the first part of Les Combes. Does he get it completely done through Malmedy? Yes, he does. Senna Lansons closes in on them, though, and holds on to that 3rd place while doing it. Mark Fletcher still in 6th, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to make any sort of move on Hans Polmans. Senna gets very close to the back of Hakon Grebstad as they go down the hill. And right behind him now is Tom Dadswell, so he cannot breathe for a single moment. Senna's car all scratched and dented. He certainly had to get his elbows out at points, but to be honest with you, I don't think the contact with Eystein was any sort of malicious. He was just pushing hard and caught the curb, trying to stay as far down the inside as he could. And we only have a couple more corners to go. Not sure if we can get an update quickly from Bart to see if it finished this way, what the championship order would be. But what an amazing drive by Tom Edmonds. What an amazing drive by Hakon Grebstad. The two of them have been incredible. Senna Lansons has been so exciting tonight. He's been doing everything he possibly can. Maybe slightly over the mark at certain points, pardon the pun. As now he's going for it on Hakon Grebstad. Could this be the move that changes it all and gives him the championship? We don't even know. We'll have to find out. He's trying to keep his nose down the inside. Surely the move is going to come as they go into the final corner. Hakon Grebstad blanks in and out, not blanks in and out. And everybody defends down the inside. Senna Lansons tries to send it late on the brakes. Tom Dadswell around the outside. He's got in too hot. Everybody's getting in too hot. Tom Edmonds has to park it on the apex. There's contact. Contact once more. Senna Lansons loses a place, though. And Hans Polmans is going to go for it. Edmonds wins. Polmans 2nd. Grebstad 3rd. Lansons 4th. And surely that gives the championship to Mark Fletcher from Altitude Esports. What an unbelievable race to round out the championship. And I'm not even sure that that's... Wow. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. They were tied on points coming into those final few corners. Let's have another look back at it, though, just to see exactly what happened. Because that was just absolutely bonkers. So, sorry, this was the final lap. This was a long time before it, so we'll slow this down. So this is as they come into Blanchimont for the last time, sorry. So let's keep our eye on everybody here. Trees, thanks. So Senna Lansons, the red car in 3rd position, moves over to the right to defend from, that was Tom Dadswell. Tom goes way too hot on the brakes. He knows he's not made that corner already, and he goes straight on and completely loses out. Now Edmonds goes deep into there, probably trying not to sort of close up and get pushed out of the way by Senna. Haakon Grebstad has run deep. Edmonds hard on the brakes as he stops it on the apex. Now Grebstad hits him, then Lansons hits him. Hans Polman sneaks up the inside. Lovely stuff from him. Mark Fletcher the whole time is just sat watching it. And Edmonds wins the race, but did he get a slowdown penalty applied or something? We'll have to have a look at what the results come out with, but in typical fashion, Mark has just left that till the very last moment, hasn't he? Again, admittedly, you know, hats off to Senna. Senna was amazing in that race, but if there's one issue I have with everything in that race, it's that some of these guys just disappear as soon as the race is done. They just completely disappear off the side of the road. They just park it, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm not sure if any of you agree, but maybe I'm moaning a little bit too much. But still, let's have a look at the race results then, and we'll see exactly how that all panned out. That's the wrong race, so don't get too excited where it says Mark Fletcher wins. Tom Edmonds wins the race, 0.2 of a second clear of Hans Polmans, who beats Haakon Grebstad by 1,000th of a second. Senna Lansons finishes 4th after an incredible final drive. Mark Fletcher finishes 5th, and because of that, will be champion. Frederik van Eekhoven finishes 6th. Tom Dadswell eventually is 7th, with Ronald Moons 8th, Tyler Manning in 9th, and Matthew Sufi rounding out your 10. Dan Berg is in 11th, only 16 seconds off the race winner. That's how close it is. Callum Reid-Garton finishes 12th, with Kimber Hayt in 13th. Eystein Herfjord 1 lap down, and then the other drivers that didn't finish were Hendrik de Grave, Jakob Szymanski, and Lewis Ward did not take to the grid. Well, it's safe to say that Mark Fletcher will be a very, very happy boy right now. He finishes that race in 5th position. 1 position behind Senna Lansons. And Jakob Szymanski is saying that he expects me to eat a sock now I've placed that sort of seed of doubt in your mind. Let's see if we can get a raw reaction pretty much straight away from Mark Fletcher. Mark, that was unbelievably nerve-wracking. It went one way and then the other for both of you at different points. How are you feeling? Oh,
mate, I couldn't ask for a better last round. That was unreal. I am off for a shower in a minute.
Sorry, mate. We didn't quite catch the beginning of that reaction there because I'm an idiot and I had Discord muted, but still, unbelievable scenes throughout that entire race. There was so much going on, but what happened with the slowdown? Was that just a mistake in pressure by Senna, or was that just you sort of pushing yourself a bit too hard?
He's going to laugh. He's going to laugh at this because he came in and apologised. Callum Puddicombe wrote in my stream, don't get a slowdown. And then drove off the track getting the slowdown and came in the chat and went, oh my god, if you didn't win that, I'd have felt so bad. But no, just a lack of concentration and just watching the racing from up front, it looked mega. I didn't want to be anywhere near it.
Well, I know that's the thing. In those sort of moments, you need to make those places up, and at the same time, you don't want to risk any sort of contact or anything to sort of spoil it, because there were a few moments, weren't there, in that race where it was just the tiniest bit of contact and people were sort of spat off to the sides and you had to avoid them coming back on. Yeah,
there was it the T3 car that went off, and I thought if he hits that barrier, he's coming right back on in front of me here. So we all kind of swerved. It was nuts. I mean, it was great racing. It was fantastic. And I'm not being funny. I don't think out of the 6 cars in that train, I don't think any of us hit our breaking point into that last chicane.
No, definitely not. And to be honest with you, I think the best of them was Tom Dadswell. He ended up in France and had to pay to get back in. But either way,
he's nearly there anyway.
It was just awesome. I mean, 4 points separate you in the end of the championship, and Tom Dadswell gets, I believe, 3rd position. Yeah, 3rd position for Tom Dadswell with 124 because of Eystein Herfjord's retirement. Tom Edmonds in 5th as well. But what a season, Mark. I mean, it's not been a long season either, you know. There's not been time for anybody to really catch their breath with all of this, but it's been great, hasn't it?
No, I mean, it's the first, I think, Porsche Cup Series that they've done, and the racing's been mega. The grid hasn't been massive, but when you look at the standard of drivers and the driving standard, it doesn't need to be. It's been great. It's been really, really good. I don't even think there's been that many protests. No. Well, I mean, that's one of the best things, you know. It seems like it's a group that all know exactly what everybody wants. They all want a really good race, and that's what we've been getting. But I think the best 2 races of the season were definitely those, you know. It was so nerve-wracking. I was scared for both of you, you know, you and Senna, at every single point there, because it was just going one way then the other like a game of tennis. But
Ultimately, in the end,
Yeah.
Mark, you are the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series champion. What are you going to do with your virtual winnings and celebration time? I mean, we've got to celebrate on the weekend, surely.
Yeah, I think me and you have got to have a beer on Saturday night at Snetterton. Mate, it's mega. It's been a great season. And to be fair, I'm really proud of all the guys that have raced for me this year. I think we lock out at least 3 positions in the top 10. And, you know, like we said at the start, there's never any team orders. There's no point. It just makes it, you know, better if we're all racing together. But yeah, mate, fantastic season. Love it.
Cracking stuff, Mark. Well, really well done, mate. Really, really well done. Great to see you get the title. And before I let you go, is there anyone that you'd like to give a final thanks to while we've got you?
Yeah, obviously all my boys at Altitude and all the work they put in. It's absolutely fantastic that we can come and, you know, put on a good show regardless of where we finish. And then obviously all the sponsors. Here we go. Here's where I mess this up. Ace Tech Sim Sports, Freem, Sim Stickers, Sim Racing Studio, Hedge for doing all of our promotion, Callum for doing all of our social media, and Phil for doing all our paints.
Beautiful.
I think. Yeah, man. I think we're done.
I left a little bit of leeway there just in case you forgot one. But either way, mate, fantastic stuff to see it. It was great racing. Well done. And, well, we look forward to the next time you're on our screens again, buddy. Nice one.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Chaz. See you at the weekend.
Cheers. Well, there you go. A very excited Mark Fletcher takes the championship victory after an amazing, amazing race. Really, really good fun and just totally amazing to watch. And I think we just missed the end of a swear word there by Tom, but to be fair, he's a good boy.
No, it was right.
He's a good boy and he won't swear.
Yeah,
you know what he's
no.
like. Tom, I mean, how do I even begin with your race? Because
nuts.
16th on the grid to take, like, no offence, I thought your pace in qualifying was amazing. I was really, really gutted for you after that first race. I thought you might try and sort of catch up to the field and help out. I didn't think you'd go on and win the thing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to do from the start. I wanted to get to at least top 5 because I think I could in the first place. And then when I got into 5th place and it was like 3 laps left, I just went, you know what, let's just go all out. I really wanted to win it, and I got my elbows out, and I had to get it done. One, because it would help the boys in the championship, which is always good. So I feel like I needed to do it.
Well, honestly, it was a hell of a drive. And I mean, it's not the easiest of circuits to do it. Yes, of course, there is the Kemmel Straight and all the slipstreaming that goes on there. But, I mean, overtaking round here with such sort of mid-speed to high-speed corners in a car like the Porsche that likes to dance like it's on ice anyway, it's not an easy place to get those moves completed, is it, without compromising yourself too much?
Yeah, it's quite hard, especially as people defend up and down the main straight, which is obviously understandable. But if you can get a good run up through Eau Rouge and Radion, you can get quite a good slingshot. But it is so easy to defend at the same time, especially in the Swisty section. And you get quite a lot of understeer when you're behind the cars, so it can be quite hard.
Well, you certainly made it work, mate, and it was fantastic to watch. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before I let you go?
I just want to say a big thank you to Mark Fletcher for letting me in the team.
Beautifully said, mate. Well, great to see you, Tom. Really well done on that win. I look forward to seeing you next time you're on my screen.
Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.
Fantastic drive there by Tom Edmonds. That was absolutely awesome. Really, really awesome performance. And to be honest with you, I think there's a few drivers out there that will really have hoped to be able to do the same in that one. One driver that was right up there throughout all of it as well, certainly not subtle in the bright blue car, was Frederik van Eekhoven. Frederik, you were in the thick of all of it tonight amongst all these guys fighting for the championship. How was that from your perspective?
It was fun to be up there with these guys. I tried to be careful because I know a lot of them were fighting for a lot more important stuff than I was. So, it was a real fun scrap out there.
Well, it certainly looked like it, and I mean, Spa Francorchamps is a hell of a place to do it as well. There's a lot of open space here, but at the same time, a lot of these corners, you can only take one line through them, really. Maybe Les Combes and the Kemmel Straight is the prime overtaking opportunity. Was there any certain part of the track tonight where you thought you could maybe turn it up to 11 and have a bit of an advantage on people?
No, like you say, at the end of Kemmel Straight and maybe through Pujo. It was with the dirty air. You really had to try to find the grip, like you were racing the Indy 500 almost. There was a lot of spots where you could maybe gain a little advantage, but maybe not enough to actually go for a move.
Well, it certainly was very nerve-wracking, of course. It was nerve-wracking for us watching with those guys fighting for the championship and a bunch of you guys just hoping to get as many points as you could. But being out there on track with them must have been really quite scary as well. Is it a car that you enjoy driving? Because I've asked a few drivers before if they like it, and they say that they race it because it's really competitive, but they actually don't like the car. Is it one that you enjoy?
Yes, I enjoy it. Maybe not for hot lapping, because it's one of those cars where you actually have to drive a bit lower to go faster, if that makes sense. But yeah, the racing is just really competitive, and as you could see, you can bang some doors without any issues.
Well, that's the main thing from cars on iRacing these days, isn't it? That we're able to make a little bit of contact, because they used to be made of paper and blow away in the wind. So it's good to see that you can do that. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to while I've got you, Frederick?
Yes, to Hydro Race. They're a brand new sponsor, so new that they weren't even in the car yet. And yeah, everybody else who was involved in organizing this. It was a really fun series, and I hope I can do every round next time by.
Well, we hope to see you back out on track very, very soon, Frederick. Thank you very much for jumping in, mate, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, there we go, everybody. What an amazing evening of racing. So much entertainment from all of these guys, and really close and clean racing 99% of the way through. Mark Fletcher is the champion of the NEVO European Porsche Cup Series. Commiserations to Senna Lansons, the GTE Racing by Red Ant driver, did an amazing job this season, and he was very, very exciting to watch. Really, really enjoyed that one, and hats off to both of them for being such superstars. Either way, though, that brings us to the end of the broadcast and the end of the championship. It's a real shame that it's come around this quickly. I want to apologise for not being available for all of the rounds this season, but my real-world commentary commitments have just been completely taking over, and it's really filled up a lot of my time. But at the end of the day, that's my job, and that's what I've got to do. But for now, I just want to thank everybody for watching, all the drivers for taking part, and the admins for having me this season. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name's Chaz Draycott, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Good night.
In my arms with your eyes closed, for the first time I've got hope. I don't ever wanna lose you now. I don't think I'll make it here without. I don't ever wanna lose you now. I don't think I'll make it here without. 'Cause it's you, my only. It's